So I wanted to make this session a little bit more special in the sense that we are working with a 4-class series over the next 4 months, exploring elemental alchemy, looking at the different elements and really how we can use meditation and mudra practices to work with these elements within our bodies. So the earth element, which is what we're starting with, is the heaviest and the densest of the elements. And it's all about letting go. And I think that's a really nice place to start from. Oops. So I've got about 5 minutes left to go until I can see if the sugar that I took worked. But I'm having a little bit of a temperamental time with my CGM and my blood sugars at the moment. And nothing new, right? Nothing unusual. So in the next 5 minutes or so, I'll either be taking some juice or checking my blood sugar or whatever. Oh, you're low there too. Okay. Anyway, so the earth element, it's all about letting go, right? And I think that is a huge thing for us living with diabetes, is learning to accept, let go, and move on. So why do I say the earth element is all about letting go? Because the function of earth is all about elimination. It's about the downward movement, right? So when we look at where we eliminate earth in the body, we eliminate it through going to the loo, having a bowel movement, right? That's where we're letting go of earth in the body. The organ that's associated with that is obviously the anus, but also the sense organ that's associated with that is smell. And if we think of smell, it's all to do with memory, right? Because when we smell certain things, we're remembering certain things. So, and also smell is very primal. So it has to do with generations, history, DNA. And so living with diabetes, obviously we have, for some of us, we've had it for most of our lives, but for some of us, maybe we were diagnosed in our teens or we were diagnosed as adults. And so we have what came before diagnosis and we have what came after diagnosis. And so the earth element is all about grounding us into where we are right now. Like, what can we let go of even from yesterday as we move into today? What can we let go of from 5 minutes ago as we move into right now? Because being present here and now, the next moment is also here and now, and the next moment is also here and now. So there actually is no past. It just seems as though there is a past, right? And there is a story that we carry with us. But when we can focus on this element, this heavy element that is constantly leaving the body, we consume food which carries the earth element in it, and then it moves through the body and nourishes us, and then we eliminate it, right? We let it go. So even the food that we eat is transient. In fact, everything that's happening to us every moment is transient. So the earth element, as I said, it relates to grounding, stability, and it relates to the tissues in our body. So we have 7 different kinds of tissues in our body, and hopefully my memory will work okay right now to go through them. But it starts with plasma, and then blood, and then we have muscle. We have, actually it's plasma, blood, fat, muscle, bone, bone marrow, and then we have reproductive fluid. So those are kind of the 7 tissues of the body. And there's a beautiful image in yoga which demonstrates kind of these 7 tissues. You actually see a trunk, an elephant right at the base of the spine, and then it has 7 trunks. And those 7 trunks are the 7 tissues of the body. The most densest tissue in the body is our reproductive fluid. And this is also to do with our immunity. So again, living with diabetes, we're constantly dealing with this autoimmune issue that we've got our pancreas not behaving the way it should. And so what we want to do with our knowledge about the earth element is find ways to increase our immunity to things. And that's all about not only what we take in physically, but also what we take in environmentally, you know, the kinds of environments that we place ourselves in, the kind of choices we make about, how we're going to relate to a different situation. Or how can, even though I know that I'm going to be in this situation, which is going to be stressful, going out to dinner can be stressful for us. Exercising can be stressful for us. Relating with others can be stressful for us. So it's all about, finding ways to be in a situation and to feel that inner strength, that inner immunity, and to, yeah, okay, well, you know the story. So I'll just check to see if there has been some movement, otherwise I'll have some juice. I've just switched up my medication routine as well, so that's probably what's going on. Okay, so far it's still kind of okay, so I'll give you a few more minutes. All right, so I wanted to start with some mudras that really work with the earth element. And if you're sitting on a chair, one of these mudras, you maybe you want to put your hands on the desk when you do this, if you have a desk in front of you. If you can manipulate yourself towards the floor for this mudra, that would be great, because it does connect with the earth element. And I'll just move back slightly so that you can see me a little bit better. But, sorry, let's play around with my camera here. Okay. Yeah, so one of the mudras, well, two of the mudras we want to have, if we can, access to the floor. If you can't have access to the floor, you can still have your hands extended on your thighs. And the same thing for the other mudra that we're going to do, which is called Chatur Mudra, which connects with the earth and then comes up like that. So you just kind of tune in to whether that feels appropriate for you or not to be on the floor. Otherwise, you can just sit on your chair. And like I said, you can even just imagine that you're touching the earth. And the brain doesn't know the difference between what we think and what we're actually doing. So it will still work. So the earth element is located in the pelvic floor. We will be doing a meditation later, which kind of involves a visualization with the earth, but also working on that idea of letting go of each moment. So we'll be kind of focusing our energy around that pelvic floor area. And if you think of it like your foundation, so if I had a spine here right now, and I had my hand right on kind of the base of the spine, like where the pelvic bones sit in their feet, if you hold that little baby skeleton at the base of the spine, it balances the whole spine. So the pelvic floor, which is at the base of the pelvic bowl, and it's a diamond shape, and the pelvic floor is a diaphragm, right? So we've got the diaphragm in the throat, we've got the diaphragm underneath the ribcage, and then we've got the diaphragm at the base of the spine. And all these diaphragms are mobile, they're moving all the time. When we're speaking, our pelvic floor is releasing and lifting. So the earth element is not only in our bones and in our tissues, it's in our muscles, and it's kind of moving and fluid and communicating. So when we do the mudras, I want you to think that you're actually accessing that diaphragm, that pelvic floor, and helping it to do its job. So a lot of us, as we get older, especially women, we have pelvic floor dysfunction from having babies and things like that. And as men, we're dealing with prostate and things like that. So having awareness of the pelvic floor and working the pelvic floor is really foundational, again, for our spinal health and overall well-being. So let's just bring our hands to our heart and close our eyes and just start to become aware of your breath, noticing your inhalation and your exhalation. Just grounding into this moment right now. A little bit later on in our meditation, we'll work on those letting go exercises. But right now, just see if you can feel one hand on top of the other on your chest, just above your heart. And let's become aware of our breath in our belly. So belly breathing is earth breathing. When you breathe into the belly, you can feel the pelvic floor releasing. Whether you're sitting in a chair, whether you're sitting on the floor, or even if you're doing this lying down. Seeing if you can sense how the belly expanding and the belly releasing. It takes you back to that primal moment. All right, so from here we're going to go into our first mudra. This mudra is called Chakra Mudra, and it's a mudra to directly connect with the earth. So the finger that represents the earth element is the fourth finger. We're going to start by bringing our thumbs right to the crease at the base of the forefingers. And then we're going to fold the other fingers over. So if you're like me and you have a little bit of arthritis, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable. But keep your little fingers extended. So you've got your thumb right to the base of your ring finger. You're folding the other fingers in, and the little fingers are extended. And then you're going to reach those hands down either to rest on your thighs, imagining that you're touching the earth, or you can actually go onto the floor and bring your forefingers to the earth for a moment and just hold it. So whether you're holding them just on the tops of your knees and visualizing that you're touching maybe a soft, mossy earth, that earth, that lovely grass that we see in spring, or if you're on the floor. And then you're going to take those four fingers that have either been resting on your thighs or touching the floor, and you're going to bring them to your forehead, bringing the earth element into your mind, bringing that sense of grounding and nurturing, stability, memory, quality of family, of lineage, of heritage. And just hold your fingers there. That thumb touching the base of your ring finger. Little fingers extending. Right, and then release your hand and just come down. Just take a moment. You might feel some awareness around your forehead. You might feel the release of energy through your fingers, especially if you have tightness in your hands. Okay, so the next mudra that we're going to do is the Prithvi mudra, the earth mudra. So we're going to bring our thumb now to the tip of our ring finger and extend all the other fingers. And then again, placing the hands on the thighs and closing the eyes. So there's no particular breath that we need to do when we're doing mudras. We're just experiencing them, noticing our breath. You might like to pay attention to the pelvis, the pelvic floor area, just noticing any sensation in the lower legs, the calf muscles, the shins, the feet. Whether you're sitting on the chair, whether you're sitting on the floor, even if you're lying down. Just having a sense of those lower limbs. You might even notice your breath slowing down and letting go. You might be hearing some noise here in the background. That screeching noise is actually crickets here in Australia in the summer. The crickets go crazy. All right, and then just releasing your hands, maybe opening and closing your palms. So that was the traditional earth mudra, Prithvi mudra. Now we're going to do mudra. So you're going to extend your index finger and your middle finger and cross your thumb over your ring finger and your little finger. And then again, you place them on your thigh, or if you're on the floor, you actually touch the floor with your fingers, leaning forward slightly. So if you were on the floor, it would be a little bit like this. But don't worry if you're not on the floor, no pressure. Just have your hands where they're comfortable, and then closing your eyes. So this one's really about the pure connection with the earth, feeling the earth energy coming up through your fingers and into your body. And just letting your breath do whatever it wants to do. Releasing your hands. So this next one is this movement. So we bring the fingers together and we hold our elbows wide and we rest our hands just on the pelvic bones. Maybe the hands will come and rest on the inner thighs as well. And there's a slight, maybe a slight pressing down movement. So you'll feel the muscles of the upper body engaging. And again, it's to connect with the thighs, the knees, but all the fingers are together. So all the fingers are touching. So there's lots of different hand positions for mudra. So we talk about the open hand, the hollow palm, the closed fists, the fingers together. So this is one of those ones where the fingers are together and facing each other and pressing down on the thighs. And again, depending on your body, how comfortable it is, you can press strongly or you can just press slightly. But the idea is to connect with the lower part of the body through this mudra and the earth element. Then you can just do natural breathing or belly breathing, or even if you feel like you want to extend your exhalation a little bit longer than your inhalation, that's another beautiful way to connect with the earth element. And then again, just releasing your hands. All right, so this next one, you're going to cross the right wrist over the left, or the left wrist over the right if you are left-handed. So I'm right-handed, right wrist over left. And then you're going to interlace your pinkies and extend your index fingers. So, and then you're going to hold this at your heart. So this, when you look down, it's like you're looking at maybe some sort of animal which has antlers, maybe a deer, something like that. Yeah. And so you can, but you can hold it upright. You can hold it down with your fingers touching the ground if that's more comfortable. So you decide what you want to do. So this is called Rupa Mudra. Rupa means form. So I talked about how the earth element represents, you know, the bones, the muscles, the tissues, but it's also form, all form. So everything that we look at, from the rocks to the, to everything that we look at is form. Yeah. So this is the mudra of form, of structure, of stability, and that's why it relates to the earth element. All right, and then releasing that mudra, now we'll come into what's called chin mudra. So you'll bring the forefingers into fists and you'll touch your thumb and index finger, and then rest those down on your thighs again. So this is a concentration mudra, but with the palms facing down, it's grounding. So again, you're just relaxing, closing your eyes, just being present with everything as it is. And then just releasing from those mudras, and perhaps take a moment to come into what we call a stress release hold. So you're going to bring one hand under the armpit and then hold the opposite forearm here. So it can be your right hand over your left armpit, and then holding your right arm with your left hand, or if it's more comfortable for you to do it the other way. Again, it's very much about which side is dominant for you and comfortable for you. Let's take a moment and just hold. Now you might notice that when we're doing all these different mudras, that your mind gets very quiet in the same way it does when we're meditating. And that's because we're accessing the alpha wave of the brain. Right? The alpha wave is the wave that comes just after beta, and it is a very relaxing brain wave. It's often the brain wave that we have as healers. We work with that brain wave. It's so that point where we're just about to fall asleep, but not quite, right? Beta is when we're actually starting to dream, but alpha is the healing state. So mudras take the brainwave into that alpha state. They engage the parasympathetic nervous system, and they calm everything down. And specifically, these mudras related to the earth element draw the energy out of the head right down to the base of the body, into the legs, and into that stability and that grounding. Again, just closing the eyes. And it's very self-reflective. How does this feel in your body? You might notice your body taking a deep breath and just settling right down. Yeah. And then relax your hands. If you need to take a stretch or have a drink or just do something before we head into the meditation, please feel absolutely free to do that. It's not a super long meditation. We'll probably spend about 10, 12 minutes. So we're going to start just closing the eyes if that's comfortable. You can also keep your eyes open. It's really up to you. We're just going to start with some breaths, just exploring what it's like to deepen the length of your exhalation. So you'll just breathe in for an even count. And then as you breathe out, just breathing a little bit longer than your inhalation. So if you breathe in for 8 breaths, you might breathe out for 9 breaths. If you breathe in for 6 breaths, you might breathe out for 7 or 8 breaths. Just working with a number that's comfortable to you. And just see if you can really bring your mind to your breath. And then with every out breath, you're just directing your awareness to the base of your body. So it's like you're breathing out, almost breathing out from your pelvic floor, breathing out through your legs, breathing out through your knees, your calf muscles, your ankles, your toes. So focusing on where the energy of the exhalation is going. Out, down through the legs. You've got your feet on the floor. You just feel that breath traveling out through your feet, through the soles of your feet, right into the ground. So even if we're in an apartment and we're like 6 floors up, or 10 floors up, you can still imagine your energy draining right down into the earth. And then take a few moments to visualize your legs, your feet. Imagine that you're actually standing outside right now, or seated on the earth outside. Maybe even you're lying down on the earth. Imagine that you can smell either that smell of mown grass or that sense of that humus, that rich smell of earth is traveling up to your nostrils as you're feeling your feet connecting with the earth, or feeling your buttocks connecting with the earth, or even feeling your back connecting with the earth. And just let yourself sink right into that feeling, the softness of the earth underneath your feet. And then imagine that beneath your feet, beneath the earth, as you travel down into that image of earth, you can see all the fine roots of trees, the filaments of the roots. Maybe you can see some, decaying leaves. Maybe you can see or sense some earthworms. So really getting into that image for yourself of what it means to be a little bit deeper below the surface layer of the earth. And as you travel down through those layers of soil, just notice how maybe you come to bedrock. And notice the difference between the feeling in your body of sensing the softness of earth and the mobility of earth to hitting that bedrock, the solidity of rock, unmoving, unchanging. But we're not going to stop at the bedrock. We're going to go even further down. Almost like we're drilling down into the center of the earth. And as we go further, we come to that heat, that warmth, that incredible molten core of the earth. Maybe we can sense the fluidity, the liquid nature of the earth as it's that red, hot, molten lava. But we're not burned by it. We're just observing it, feeling its nature. How the earth is never solid. It appears solid, but it has all these layers. And then, because we're on this beautiful ball, we can go through to the other side. So we can actually pierce through that molten lava core back to the bedrock. And again, feeling the nature of bedrock, of rock, which has consciousness, but very little consciousness. And then moving from bedrock back to the soft, grainy, sandy texture of earth. And so even within the layers of earth, there's changes that go on. But earth itself is unchanging, the quality of earth. Even though it appears as bones and muscles and tissues and fat and plasma and all those things, there's something in earth which is unchanging, unmoving, completely still, completely stable. And this makes up the content of the whole body, this earth element. And as you come back to your feet, imagining your feet touching the earth, or imagining your pelvis sitting on the floor, connecting with the earth, or even your back resting on the earth, just notice how that feels. And journeying to the center of the earth and back. And then sensing how the earth is this beautiful receptive container. Like you can give everything back to the earth. And eventually our bodies do go back to the earth. But we can give back our emotions, we can give back our fears, we can give back our negativity. Whatever's coming up for us, we can actually offer it back to the earth. So think about anything that's happened for you in the last week. In the last week, any moment where you felt like, oh, I just really need to let that go. And imagine you're bundling that up into a little box, maybe a recycled cardboard box. And you're putting all that, whatever happened during the week, and you're going to put it all in that box and bury it under the earth, knowing that it will just eventually go back to the earth. So just take a moment to imagine that you're bundling that whole week up, all the things that were challenging for you or difficult for you, and you're giving it back to the earth. Now let's reflect on yesterday. Maybe yesterday was an absolutely glorious, beautiful day. Everything was perfect. But maybe there was something yesterday that happened that you would really like to move on from and let go of. And do that same thing. Package it all up. Make sure it's nice and secure and tight, and then imagine burying it in the earth, letting it go, letting it decay and become part of that soil. Eventually, it becomes fodder for new life. So really letting go of yesterday. And then moving to today. And thinking about an hour ago. Maybe there's something that happened an hour ago that you'd like to move on from or let go of. And the same thing. Bundle it all up, smush it all up, put it where it's all sealed up, and imagine placing it in the earth. Let it go. Now let's focus on the last minute. Letting that go. And the last second. Letting that go. And the next second. Letting it go. And the next second. Letting it go. Until each moment you're just letting it go, letting it go, letting it go. And all that's here is you, right now, in this present moment. All the past is buried. Even the last nanosecond is buried. And it's just right here, right now, this moment. And let that thought go. And let the next thought go. And keep letting the next thought, and the next thought, and the next thought go. Each thought, giving back to the earth. That is just here and now. Here and now. Here and now. And as a thought comes out, let it go. You can catch each thought, each sensation, each emotion as it arises, and just practice letting it go. So that all that's here is your presence. You, the presence itself. And if there's a thought about not being able to be present, let that go as well. Just keep letting those thoughts dissolve back into the earth. Ask yourself, who am I without all these thoughts? All you can be is the presence itself. Okay, and even letting that focus go, just deepen and lengthen your breath. Notice your body right now. Notice how you feel. And let's just bring our hands once again to our chest, one hand on top of the other. So this is an amazing meditation practice to keep letting go every second as it arises and giving it back to the earth. It's a beautiful way to stay present, to accept, feel that sense of groundedness. So I really do invite you to try it. Next time something starts to happen that's really challenging and stressful, just catch yourself. Okay, I'll just give that over to the earth. And then the next moment, I'll give that over to the earth. And just notice what arises in this space. It's not always easy when you're in the middle of a stressful situation like a low blood sugar, or in communication, or dealing with all the different things that we have to deal with. It's not always easy to just give it back and come back to what's happening right now. It's actually the best thing we can do for ourselves. So let's all take a big, deep breath together. And there's a beautiful sound which really anchors that earth element into the body, and it's L-A-M, lum. And so let's chant that sound together if we feel comfortable doing that. Otherwise, you can just listen to me chanting it. And feel all the energy being directed down to the pelvic floor with the sound. So it's a balancing sound for the earth element. Lam, 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 lam. And slide your hands down in front of your body, over your knees, maybe over your calf muscles if you feel comfortable. Giving your feet a little bit of a hello and a rub. Go ahead and do that. And that's the end of our practice together. But as always, I love to check in with everybody and see how that was for you, what the experience was like. So I will stop our recording so that